All right, I'm going to do a few more examples. I got mixed up on the second one, so I started over. I'm not used to videotaping myself doing these. But anyway, so for the next one, we're converting number 2 on your own. And this is on page 234 from 5.7. We're converting 7 pounds to ounces. So for this one, you always want to make sure that you start with the original amount, so 7 pounds over 1. And then you want your pounds to be diagonal from each other so you can cross them out because we're going from pounds to ounces. So we don't want pounds anymore. We're going to cross those out. We want to be left with ounces. So if I look at my problem here, I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me share my screen. Okay, so if you look at the problem here, it's 7 pounds to how many ounces? So if I look at my conversions in the back of my book, it doesn't say 1 ounce equals so many pounds, but it does say that 16 ounces equals 1 pound. And I can use that. The key thing is that you want to make sure that your pounds are across from each other and that you have a conversion factor, meaning you have one of them, you have your, you have a 1, that magic 1 in there. So let me go to my whiteboard and show you. Okay, so I'm going to take my 7 pounds, my original amount. I'm going to put it over 1. Okay, I'm going to multiply. Now, if I look, I'm trying to go, I need ounces and I need pounds, right? Because I want my pounds across from each other so I can cross those guys out. So it doesn't say that 1 ounce equals so many pounds, but it does say that 16 ounces equals 1 pound. So I still have a magic 1 in there. The only thing is that this time the 1 isn't on the top, but that's okay. So now all I'm doing is multiplying straight across 7 times 16. Okay, so 7 times 16, I can do it on a calculator or I can do it the long way. 7 times 10 is 70, 7 times 6 is 42. Add those together, be 112. 7 times, we can do it this way too. 7 times 4, 42. 7 times 1 is 112. Okay, so then you put your 112, and we've got our pounds crossed out, right? 112 ounces over 1, which is the same as 112 ounces. So 7 pounds, oops, so hard to write with this thing. 7 pounds is the same as 112 ounces. Okay? All right, let me do another one. Hopefully I can get my pencil back. Okay. Nope, I don't want that. Why? Where's my little pencil guy thing? There we go. Okay, so the next one, number 3, is 5 grams, G is for grams, 5 grams to milligrams. Okay, so I know I'm going to start with my 5 grams over 1 times, and then I'm going to set up my fraction. I know I need my grams across from each other. Okay, and then milligrams, right? So I need to go find my conversion factor. Now I'm going to see if I can find milligrams to grams, but if not, I can go from grams to milligrams. So if I go to the back of my book, I can go, so this is the metric system. So 1 gram, okay, so 1 gram, put that down there, equals 1,000 milligrams. So as long as I have my 1 in there, I still have my conversion factor. Now, like the last one, the 1's on the bottom, but that's okay. So now I can still cross out my grams, right? And then I just multiply straight across. 5 times 1,000 is 5,000 milligrams. Okay, so the ones, obviously they just multiply to 1, so we don't really need to worry about that. All we have is 5,000 milligrams. Okay, let's try one more. This one is number 4, miles to kilometers, or kilometers, either way, tomato, tomato. I'm gonna erase. I'm gonna get my pencil back. Okay, so this is number 4, 7 miles. Start out with your 7 miles. Put it over 1 times. I want to figure out kilometers to miles. Kilometers on top, miles on the bottom, because I need to cancel out my miles. Okay, so now I need to find my conversion factor of kilometers and miles. So I go to a metric to customary, and it says 1 kilometer is worth 0.62 miles. Okay, so now I'm going to multiply straight across the top. 7 times 1 is 7. 1 times 0.62 is 0.62. I'm going to cross out my miles. Now on this one, 7 over 0.62 means you have to divide, and that's going to be challenging to do without a calculator. So then you would do on your calculator 7 divided by 0.62, and you would get, I'm going to do that. I don't know if you guys can see the calculator on my screen or not, but 11.2903225806456161. So what that means is you need to round. So I'm going to round, so it's 11.290. So I'm going to round to the nearest hundredth, which means I'm going to have 11.29. And my measurement, remember I crossed out my miles, so this is kilometers. Okay, now it's important to note that even in the answer key it says 11.27. So it's 2 hundredths off, but that's okay. That's probably because of the conversion factor we used. Now I want to show you another way to do this. So we went from kilometers to miles. I want to try going from, if we put I wonder if we can put miles. Yeah, okay, so let's try it this way. So there's multiple ways of doing this problem, and we'll see how the answers are very similar but slightly different. So if I go 7 miles over 1, like I did before, I'm going to set the problem up the same. Okay, I'm going to put kilometers and miles. Now this time I'm going to do, instead of 1 kilometer, I'm going to put miles as 1 down here. So 1 mile and 1.61 kilometers. Okay, so I'm using this as my conversion factor. So now I'm going to just cross out my miles and I'm going to multiply 7 times 1.61. So when I do that, it'll be 7 times 1.61, I get 11.27. So that is where depending on the conversion factor that you use, you might be like 2 hundredths off. So on this one, when I used this conversion factor, I got this. And when I used this conversion factor, I got that. They're technically, I would consider them both correct, but it's just because we used slightly different conversion factors. So both of those would be correct. And you can do them either way. as long as you have the correct ratio here. So 1 kilometer is the same as 0.62 miles, or 1 mile is the same as 1.61 kilometers. But notice that kilometers is on the top, miles is on the bottom, kilometers on the top, miles on the bottom. The reason is because you have to make sure those miles are across from each other to cancel them out. Okay? All right, I think I'm gonna go ahead and stop there.